Welcome to A Kind Life. Today I'm very grateful to have Vegan Yoga Momma, also known as Lauryn. How are you going, Lauryn?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Now, I'm guessing people will tell from your accent you are from America. Give us a little bit of insight into where you're based and about yourself.
Okay. Well, I'm originally from Miami, Florida, and now I live in Kansas City area. So basically like almost the whole center of the United States. Like the centermost point of the US is within an hour of my house. So
Wow.
like right smack dab in the middle. Lots of barbecue here, actually. That's the big thing that they're known for. And dairy's really big here. It kind of, we moved here for my husband's job a few years ago. So I had never even like really heard of this area growing up. So it was kind of a shock, but we love living here. It's a really nice area where we live.
Okay. And so tell us about yourself. You're married and got two boys?
So I'm married and I have two boys and they are 8 and 3. And I've been with my husband for I think it's been like 22 years now. We've been married for 18. He's transitioned to vegan with me as well as the kids. He came home from work one day and I was like, well, we're going to be vegan at home now. So whatever you do on your own is fine, but I'm just not going to ever cook anything that comes from an animal again in this house or buy it. So he was kind of like, okay, whatever, but he trusted me, and he's been really, really happy with the outcome and the food and just the whole experience, and the morals and the ethics behind it have really resonated with him as well.
And tell us about that. What made you transition to vegan?
So I watched a couple of movies a few years ago in December of maybe 2019. So I guess it was right before COVID even. And I went vegetarian then. And they weren't I think I watched The Game Changers and What the Health. So I was really more focused on myself and kind of what I could be getting out of changing the way I ate, but also kind of starting to make the connection that a lot of things happened in my life that culminated. I went to yoga teacher training where they said something about sometimes yogis are vegan, and I laughed at the time, and I was probably saying something well, I could never live without cheese, so that's ridiculous, and then I actually read a book called Yoga is Vegan, Yoga and Veganism, or Yoga is Vegan, something like that. Sharon Gannon is the author of that book. And it just kind of went through all of the sutras for yoga, the laws and the ethics and the codes, and broke each one down and explained why they were vegan. And I couldn't argue with any of them. And also one afternoon I watched Earthlings and Dominion, and that was just it. I was just done overnight. I went from being a vegetarian to being a vegan activist in an instant.
It sounds like you're someone that's quite an ethics-based person. Is that transferred into other parts of your life?
Well, I thought I was for most of my life. I'm a therapist, a clinical therapist. So I work with individual people doing counseling, mental health therapy. I do a grief and loss support group. I do, I think, the yoga teaching and throughout all of this, when we were at home with COVID and throughout this transition for me, I wanted to know what I was doing. I wanted to transition my kids safely and healthfully. So I also got my plant-based nutrition certification online during COVID, so that I could be well, I'm not just, being annoying. I know what I'm talking about. And there are health benefits to it. But again, I've made this shift where now it's for the animals, just always. And that makes it so much easier. I just don't even think twice about what I don't look at the food I used to look at as food. So I thought I was a moral and ethical person. I thought that was important to me, but I had been conditioned to ignore that, and was kind of living a lot of hypocritical, actions to my words. And that's something that was really important to me, that there's an alignment between those. And it was just another thing where I realized all of the things that I say I'm for and against and about mean I should be vegan. I should make this choice. If I'm, for women's rights, if I'm for equality, if I'm for peace, if I'm for, the planet, if I'm for animals, obviously I should say that first, but they, you know what I mean? If I'm for my own health, there's really like, over the last couple of years, I haven't found a reason that has any merit to not be vegan. I can't find one. And I look all the time. So yeah.
How was your family transitioning? Like, how did that go? It sounds like it was quite a big shift for your husband.
For sure. Well, I mean, it really wasn't for him so much at first because, like I said, like I'm the cook, I'm the one who would do the shopping. So everything was just kind of like figured out for him. And he just like loved everything I made. I'd been cooking vegetarian, so we hadn't eaten any animals in the house for like over a year already. And like even a week before going vegan, I remember saying out loud, like, I can never live without cheese. But I realized like I wasn't even really eating cheese. That was just a script that I said in my head that I had memorized for my whole life. And I assigned it as truth. And then I was like, Lauryn, you're a cognitive behavioral therapist, which means like you change your thoughts and you change your patterns and your actions, and then your behaviors change. So all you have to do is stop saying you can never live without cheese. And like, oh, look at this vegan, it's just a simple shift that begins within. And that kind of like was this aha moment for me. Like, this is what you help people do all the time. Like, you can surely do this yourself. And it was really so much easier than I thought it was going to be. There's so many options. I didn't give up cheese. I just, get it from a different source now. So yeah, my kids were at first, like my older son, he's 8. So it's been about 2 years, and I just kind of said to him one day, mommy made a mistake and I was wrong. And I thought we needed to eat these things, I thought we needed to eat this food. I thought we needed to, I thought we were doing something that was right and kind and humane, and I was wrong. And we're not going to do that anymore. And he was kind of a little like confused about it because, I mean, he's, I've been calling, whatever he was eating something else. So he didn't make really the connection that it was an animal. And when I started to say like, this comes from a cow and they're hurt in order to make this product, he didn't want to eat it. So, and it's so cute because he goes to school now and he like influences the other 3rd graders. Like they are all like, they know what veganism is now because of my 8-year-old. And like, he already wants to like, share it with people. The other day he said, can we like make a banner and drive through the neighborhood and to just have it say go vegan to everyone. So, and the baby wouldn't even eat like a plant-based chicken nugget until like a couple of weeks ago. He's really never had any meat or anything. He's just, he loves fruits and, he loves like mac and cheese. So I just replace ingredients with kind ingredients and make all the same food that we make before, and it tastes better and we feel better. We never realized how uncomfortable after eating food we were until we stopped eating that food. And like, it just shifted everything like mentally and physically and emotionally for us. My husband was like in the red at his doctor's appointment. He went in and got his lab work done, and they were like, the next time you come here, you're probably going to need medication for like blood pressure and cholesterol and maybe even diabetes. And he's like, in his early 40s, and he's like a kind of slim guy. He was really taken aback by it, but it was the food that he was eating. And now within like the couple of years that we've been vegan, every time he goes back, his numbers are beautiful. Like everything's black. There's no red. There's no threat of any disease. Everything's been reversed, and we eat good food every single day. Like that's part of my activism. And, even though it isn't a diet, but just to explain, like, it's not like, we're not giving anything up. Like we're really enjoying ourselves still, this is a joy, not a drag.
And that's something I would say, looking at your Instagram, Lauryn, is that you do make some incredible recipes. I feel like you're quite a creative person in the kitchen.
Yeah, I've always really been into cooking. It's kind of like a therapy for me. Like one of the things I talk about with my clients is that you need to have rituals and routines that you practice every day that like stick with you and are sustainable for long-term mental health. And for me, like creating things, being artistic, and in a way that's cooking, and just spiritually, like I've come to look at food as like a whole different thing. Like this is nourishing every cell in my body, and it should be like living and, It shouldn't be, pain and suffering. It should be life and, minerals and nutrients, and it should make me feel good and should be pretty. Like I used to, there was something that was my cognitive dissonance, that I would always cook, but I would always be so uncomfortable. Like I'd wash my hands so many times. I didn't want anything to touch anything in the kitchen. Like this is a sign that people are ignoring, that this isn't right. We don't have to do this if we could like get a disease and die just from touching it. And we're not like the carnivores we think we are. So yeah, the food's been a real creative thing for me, and just kind of like a little bit of a balance, because I can't always just be like, dude, be vegan. Like, hello. I have to be like, here, look, this is good. And sprinkle it with a little bit of love and light too. But, the other thing about the food is like, it is literally the most spiritual thing that we physically do every single day. It's the most connected to the planet that each person is in our actions, whether we want to like recognize and admit that or not. And so like, there's just something about that too, for me, the spirituality of it, of the food and the way it nourishes us and gives us life and can reverse diseases. And, it just feels good. So yeah, I love the food.
I think a lot of us have lost that connection, like we've sort of become quite, I suppose, almost routine or schedulized in terms of, we might eat breakfast, lunch and dinner, and, it's almost filling a gap. We haven't kind of remembered that, yeah, like you said, it's a key to health and to wellness, and, even just taking the time to enjoy your meal rather than, sort of eating it down in front of a TV or not really thinking about what we're consuming.
Yes, so true. So true. Yeah. Being a little bit more connected to it and to the impact that it has on the whole entire world around us. I remember like just recently, like having a meal with somebody who like said to me, like, I could never hurt an animal as she was eating a chicken. And I was just kind of like, I would have said that too, and it's just like this disconnect that we had, the whole entire world is disconnected. And then we like wonder why things don't make sense, and it just it's like just this kind of a different set of eyes now. Than I look at things so differently. I see things so differently than I used to, and then most other people see them, right? So it definitely has like made that a little more obvious for me. And I like think to myself, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I didn't notice this sooner. Like what was the matter with me? I want to shake myself.
Yeah.
But we can't go back and undo what we didn't know, what matters. And I think the thing that's really significant too, that I recognize about veganism is like, it's a choice that like I continue to make every single day, like it's not like I'm not doing this for anybody else except for me, like, cause I want to, and I choose to gladly. It's like the first thing I think about in the morning. How can I wake up and not cause harm today? If I'm at the store and I need deodorant and I reach for this one and it's, not going to have a cruelty-free and a vegan stamp on it, I'll put it down. I'll move my hand, a couple inches to the right or the left. And there's the vegan and cruelty-free option. Like, it's just so simple. There's no excuse anymore. Like, it's, I also think about like being a mother and having young kids and like the like climate impact on like the future planet for them. We're in a code red situation. Just saying that, like, with a straight face, like, is really hard for me, because people who, will stand next to me all the time and talk about how much they love their kids and talk about their hopes and wishes and dreams for their future while they like are like burning the earth, where 3 times a day and not even giving it a second twice. And then thinking like I'm a lunatic for being like, well, So it's just kind of been that part of it's been hard, just being one of the people who get it in a place of people who don't get it and don't want to get it. And we've created a world where it's okay to not want to get it. And I don't really like that.
And how do you find that, how do you find navigating those relationships, whether it be, work or school life with kids? Like, how do you find navigating it when you're someone that is so aware of what's happening and how you're contributing to the world?
It's so hard. And I'm not one of those people who like doesn't say what they're thinking because like, some people may think that they're here to just like kind of get through and stuff, but like, I genuinely believe that I have a purpose. Like, I think it's just, to kind of like I've always been that way. I've always been that way where like, if something's happening that's not right, like whether it be politically or socially, I've always said something about it on my social media or whatever. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like changed relationships for me. However, I recognize that those people are upset by me telling them the truth when they say they value the truth. I mean, I didn't create this system. This wasn't my idea, you know? It's like, if there was a fly on somebody's, you know, food and I told them they would be okay with that and they'd be like, thank you, Lauryn, you know? So, you know, I just feel like I'm in a place in my life too, where I want morally congruent people around me. So if somebody's going to be like really upset about that, then it's okay for like us to just, you know, not like put energy into each other. People definitely don't agree with me all the time or how I do what I do or what I do, but I don't care because I believe it, you know, so clearly. And every time I'm quiet and I listen, like I just hear it again, like this is your purpose and this is why you're here. And so like, I just believe that I'm here to shake things up. So I'm going to say things. And if they're going to, you know, be like upset about that because I told them the truth, that says more about them than it does about me. And I see that and I'm okay with that, you know, like I can let that go. I just feel like really equipped to do that.
And would you say like social media is one of your outlets for that, Lauryn, because you have quite a strong social media presence and you always speak the truth on there?
Yeah, I do. I think it's one of the ways, you know, like, especially just after like all of us being so isolated with COVID, it's been such a way to connect with people and just being like, you know, like not having like a lot of people that are close to me that have been on my vegan shifting timeline. So it's been a really great way to connect with other like-minded people who get the, you know, bigger picture of why actions and morals should align in a, you know, morally consistent society. And I think, you know, if you think about any time that any big change happened, it just, you know, it took one by one. People started to say like, we're not going to own slaves anymore. You know, we're not going to oppress women anymore. We're not going to say that you can't, you know, be gay anymore. We're going to just start to accept things and recognize that we have to change our ways. You know, the way that things are here, you know, it's tense and it's tough in this country. And I think that, you know, like, if we're all saying that we're against violence and then we're just like eating violence all the time, we're not really against it. We have to make change as a collective society. It's time for like humanity to evolve. And so like being quiet is never going to make that happen. And like, you know, I just feel like the least I can do is tell the truth. And I know that, again, you know, like some people don't agree with me or they don't like the way I do things, but like that's always going to happen no matter what you're talking about. And I've very long time ago learned to mute those people. But, you know, there's also going to be people who are really responsive. Like I'll post a TikTok and then somebody will be like, I want to go vegan, or you make being vegan so easy. And like, if I didn't do that, like that person wouldn't have said that or noticed that, you know? I mean, the fact of the matter is, if you're having a conversation with me, you're definitely more like recognizant of the fact that your food had a face and a mother before, you know, after talking to me than you were before you talked to me. And that's, you know, something that I think people are just kind of cut off to, and I'm not gonna let them that be, because there is a victim involved and they don't have a voice and I do, and I have a loud voice and I will use it and I am proud of it. And yeah, that's just how I've always been, and there's nothing like that makes me feel like I should not do that.
And you mentioned before we jumped on this call that you also are involved in a local sanctuary, so tell us about that.
Oh, well, so we moved here to the Kansas City area about 5 years ago. And when I went vegan a couple years ago, I like went to like a pig rescue network event. And it was so fun. We went to like another event of theirs, and that was really, really healing for me to just be around these animals that I like unknowingly abused for so long. And just like to, to hug them and to, apologize to them and to cry with them. It was just really, it's really healing for me to be there. I feel really drawn to the cows when I'm there. They're just so sweet. They're like these giant grass puppies, and they just want to like, cuddle with you. And I mean, they like roll over like a dog would at your feet. And so at the second event for the Pig Rescue Network, I just happened to meet this lady there who was like, oh, I'm just getting my sanctuary like started. It's out like maybe 40 minutes from my house. And like we connected on Facebook. So yeah, the social media has been amazing. And then she just started saying like, okay, we've got our, I don't know if you have the same thing, but it's like a nonprofit. You have to get like a license, like a 501(c) or something like that, C3. And so she just gotten that so that she was ready to start having visitors. And so I just, I went out there with my family like once. And then there was another time where she was like, does anybody want to come kind of help? We're having tour. A whole bunch of like high school soccer girls were coming. And so me and my older son went and like helped as like a tour guide. And then there was another day where they were having like something else. So we've been out there a few times and helped out. And then we went again this morning. There was a vegan food truck there last time. I said, too bad I won't be there this morning because it was so good. And I'd been wanting to try it for a really long time. So, but yeah, it's just like, just being there is so healing for me, and just being outside and like, it's not too far from the highway, but it's kind of in the country. So it's just a really great feeling to just be with animals, and they just want to be loved. Like they just want attention, like we went there this morning and like all the pigs came up to us and they were like, oh, like come pet me, love me, like running up to us. And they're like all different sizes. I mean, she has a pig that's like 10 pounds, maybe Hansel the baby, maybe even not even that much. And then she has a pig that's like 750 pounds. And so like it's really funny. I'm like, how many pigs do you have? She's like, I don't know, because if the number changes and my husband overhears, I'll be like, wait, I thought it was this number. So she's just like kind of always rescuing pigs, like, and so that's kind of, but then she told me about the cows when I met her, and that's what I had been really like aching for, to be with a cow. And so like, that's just been like the best about it, just going there and being there. So whenever we can go, and she basically told me, she's like, I just want people to love the animals, so you can come here anytime. And I said, you better be careful, because you're going to look out the window and be like, there's Lauryn again in the yard.
You might leave there part-time.
Seriously, like I will definitely like volunteer to help her for any of the events she has coming up. And it's so cool. I mean, I was standing there, and people don't humanize these animals. We all love dogs and cats. They have the same exact sentience. There's no moral difference between a dog or a cow or a pig or a chicken or a fish or a shrimp or anything. And like, I was just like kind of answering some questions. So all three of the cows were rescued from a dairy farm, and they were alive in a discard pile, and she took them all. And so it was just like, this lady was asking questions about the cow, and she's petting the cow, and she's like, I love animals, but I eat them. Does that make me a hypocrite? And she looked right at me, and I was just like, oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, I didn't say that to her, but I said, well, I think that sounds like a question that you can answer yourself. And it sounds like you've begun to ask yourself that, and that's really good for you. And then I saw her there again. So I think she's starting to kind of recognize that too. So I think that's really important about the sanctuary, is humanizing these animals. And I mean, there was a time when I would have taken my kids to the zoo, or like we have like a children's little farm here. And like, I would have taken them there and thought it was so cute that they were feeding the baby goats a bottle. And now I'm like, why are the goats so hungry? Why isn't their mom just feeding them? You know, like, look, they're making money off of this bottle that they're pumping from the mom, and then they're like separating the spawn. And now I'm like, and what happens with the baby goats at the end of the season? You know, it's like all these questions in my head that I never, ever, ever would have thought about before, that I just can't unsee. You know, like you go there and they show you how a cow is milked with the machine, and then the baby's in a pen getting a bottle of formula. I would rather my children see the calf nurse from its mother. This is how, you know, that's how you get milk. And that's what milk is for, people. Like, we need to like learn that as a society.
Yeah.
You know, nutritionally speaking, we have no more use for cow's milk than rat's milk or snake milk, or do they make milk? I don't know. But any other animal that makes milk, no, they don't. But you know, it's just unbelievable that we think this. And then, you know, as a breastfeeding mother too, I mean, I was in situations with my children's pediatricians where they made me feel bad for like not giving my kids cow milk and continuing to give them my milk. And I was just kind of like, what just happened? You know, when I left this doctor's office one day, and she's like, you need to wean your son and start giving him cow's milk. And I was like, I don't even drink cow's milk, you know, because I didn't drink cow's milk for like probably 10 years, but I ate cheese, and I didn't make that connection that they were the same thing. And I think a lot of people don't do that, because I hear people all the time, well, I don't drink milk. Yeah, but you don't actively avoid the ingredient every product you buy. There's a big difference, because it's in pretzels, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Is there other ways as well that you know yourself outside of social media that you spread the vegan message?
Yeah, I mean, I basically just like talk to everybody. I have given a couple of, I've given a talk at my agency before about plant-based nutrition for mental health and wellness, which was kind of interesting. I've given that talk a couple times. I'd love to do more of that. I've just kind of had like a couple of like conversations with people like you and I are doing, but I've looked to try to get involved here to see two things I really want to do. I would love to do like some more street activism. Is that kind of what you mean? They don't really have much going on here, but I am in a group on Facebook that like I just got added like last week, where they said that if anything comes up, this is where they'll post it. So I'm watching that. And I really would love to have the chance to bear witness. But that was part of the reason that I found this group. I was looking for that, but people don't really do that here either. So I have my feelers out there, and I'm really open to it, but it's just not that accessible. And I don't have the time to like start my own chapter right now. The closest one is like 4 hours away.
Wow.
So, but part of my activism too, you know, like, it's just trying to like help get more people in front of these animals too with the sanctuary. Like, I'm definitely gonna like try to bring more. I brought a couple friends. They're both, one of them's vegan and the other identifies as plant-based, because she's not like quite as extreme as I am. As some people call me extreme, as they get a stent put into their heart, but whatever. So yeah, just being there. And then they both had like a lot of friends that they wanted to like get the opportunity. So just talking to people really has been my like way of doing activism now. And my food blog is definitely something that I kind of consider a form of activism, just to, you know, again, to show people how accessible and delicious this is.
Yeah.
And that you're not giving anything up. You're just like not taking what's not yours anymore.
Yeah. And from your blog, I had a quick look, and I love your recipes. Is there any family favorites there? What would you say your kids' favorites are?
So the baby eats I have like a DIY mac and cheese mix, and it's just like cashews and a couple of spices. And I just grind it up in the food processor and mix it with vegan butter, a plant-based milk. I use soy milk most of the time just because it's fortified with calcium and vitamin D, and that's just the healthiest for all of us for our strong bones, which is what people think they're getting out of dairy milk, by the way. And then they also have the most bone fractures and osteoporosis where they eat the most dairy. So that's something, again, we have to just do away with that. But so he loves that. And then I just mix it with my own pasta. It's like do you guys have Kraft mac and cheese?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so I like basically just make my own little powder mix. And then and the baby eats that like because that's the kids, they eat the same thing like on repeat for like a really long time. So he loves the mac and cheese. They love fruit. They really like vegetables, beans, you know, like seeds, nuts, rice, nut butters. My husband loves to bake. He's a really good vegan baker. So I don't really share his recipes so much, but I'll start to add some more. I think there might be a couple on there, but he's really good. So we love that. My older son is really into like the plant-based chicken patties right now. And he loves burritos. Like he did rice, beans, guac burrito. Like he would eat that all the time. And then I also, there's a recipe that's kind of recent on there that I did, like a Mongolian like beef, but I used lentils, and my older son loved that. He asked to bring it to school for like a week. He's like, can you make this again, please? But it's really, really easy. And when I make lentils, I make like a huge batch of lentils. And then for the week, I'll just like put them in several different recipes. So that's a really easy one to do. My husband loves the mac and cheese and the like sausage feta pasta bake. Those are his favorite. My favorite, I don't know. There's so many good ones. I really like the lasagna. It's really good. I do like the lentil and like ground plant-based meat, like substitute lasagna, or like textured vegetable protein or something in there, mushrooms, veggies, spinach. I make like a cashew ricotta. So good. I'm getting hungry.
I was going to say, you're making me hungry.
I know. And then my favorite thing right now, I'm so obsessed with making like tuna melts. I used to love to have like a tuna melt when I ate animals. Oh, moment of silence for all the poor dear animals that I ate. But I do it with like a garbanzo beans instead. And I just we have this stuff called furikake seasoning, which is basically just like a seaweed and kelp, and you could just take like a sheet of nori and crumple it in there though, and it gives it the fishy flavor, and then you get the omegas from the plants, much healthier. So that's like my favorite thing. I'm obsessed with those right now.
Yeah, you're very creative, Lauryn, and I'll definitely link in the episode notes. I'll link your blog with all your recipes, because I had a look through it last night, and it was so great. You've got such a range. You know, I can see you've got things that, you know, young kids would love, things you could take for school lunches versus, you know, like family dinners as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're kind of getting to the point now. It's so exciting. Where like my older son like is into whatever we're eating more. Like I wasn't doing like short order cook. But like there were some things like I would make us like tacos, and I have to make like from my ingredients. I would give like my son like rice beet, right? But now it's like he's really kind of like, oh, let me try this, which is cool because he's gotten a lot more adventurous. But yeah, I mean, I think with the kids too, we need to like just be honest with them, and that starts with being honest with ourselves. You know, like his friend came home with us and was talking about like said something about like, I thought pepperoni came from peppers, you know? And I think it's just like such a disservice, because when I told him where it actually came from, he doesn't want to eat that, you know? And I remember even saying to my older son, like, oh, it's okay, this is what we do. And like, no, we don't have to do this. Yeah. We need to stop doing this. So yeah, they love the food. They're, you know, I mean, they eat all the same things they ate, just with kind, cruelty-free ingredients. You know, we I think it's like National Burger Day or something, my husband said. So we're going to do plant-based burgers on the grill tonight. And, you know, everybody, you know, we have hot dogs that are plant-based, and like everything is here, you know, everybody's in the pool.
And tell us about your passion for yoga, Lauryn.
Yoga. Yeah, yoga has just been like such a light in my life. I mean, just like physically, I just had a lot of back pain. I was in a car accident a long time ago. I had emergency spinal surgery when my first son was like 6 months old. And it's just been something that has been in my life. Like, I guess I started doing it right before I got married. So it's been about, 2008. So, okay, so like 14 years now. I said, or 15 years. I probably started like the year before that. And it's just like always been there for me. Like no matter how I was feeling, where we were living, it helped me like kind of adjust to like moving to new places. This is the second move for my husband's job we made. It helped me like kind of be, establish community in these towns with people, and like just physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. It was such an outlet for me for like processing things, that were without of my control in life, and like just kind of going within at what can I do? What can I focus on? What can I change? And it's just been such a great practice for me. It's been a little bit hard since going vegan to take yoga classes from people who aren't vegan. I just have a hard time taking them seriously when they're like, ahimsa, which means nonviolence. And I was that person, but like, I don't take that past me seriously either. And I feel like, if you're really like the exact same person that you've always been, and you don't like feel like you're here to like learn and grow and change, like, what are we even doing? So yoga's been just kind of a metaphor for that too, to open the mind, to open the body, to let go, to just like kind of flow through what's going on. Sometimes like I'll just like, put my, like get on my mat and just like put my music on. Most of the time when I'm doing yoga, I'm putting my mat on, I'm putting music on, and I'm just like flowing in my own head because I know the sequencing, and I'm just doing what feels good and what I need. Sometimes I'll have like a crazy like little spaz attack on the mat, jumping up and down. Just it's for me it's just like a release of energy, and it's been really, really kind of one of those things where the practice is so important to me. So how can I deny that yoga is vegan? It really is by its nature. And I'm a yogi. So if I'm going to call myself a yogi, like I have to be vegan. So that's been like one of the big parts of yoga in my life. Just really helping me heal through all of that pain with my back and get back to, not necessarily the same flexibility I had before. I think before I got pregnant with my second son, I was like really like doing a lot of yoga. I was really flexible and stuff. So that's the other thing too, to kind of like just see the way that it's kind of ebbed and flowed in my life, and to not try to control it, but to just be with it wherever it is for me each day. That's been like a great practice for me. And like I was telling you before with my clients, like having your own rituals and routines that you can kind of check in with regularly. I really believe that's the key to long-term, good mental health and well-being. And I think that's something that each of us have to work on. Like people who are happy aren't just happy, like they're making that choice. They're doing things that are making them happy. They're filling their time and space with activities and experiences and choices, ultimately that are making them feel that way. But it's work.
Do you have a plan to teach yourself?
So I teach actually. I'm not on a regular schedule right now. I'm just substituting right now. I have like 3 dates on my calendar in June to substitute at an eating disorder clinic, which I've done 1 class for there, and it was I like that because it kind of ties into my therapy training, and it requires people who understand trauma. And then there is a studio here that I'm a teacher there, not with a regular weekly class right now, but I am on the list sub. So I occasionally teach classes there. So yeah, it was just, I was teaching for a while, like during COVID, I was teaching like on Zoom during COVID, like every week.
I just think it's really exciting because, like you said, it might be an opportunity in the future where, you could build your own little vegan community through yoga and, then through sharing food and making those connections potentially with the sanctuary.
Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, I could teach a yoga class at the sanctuary.
I think that done here.
Yeah, I've done goat yoga before. And there are goats there. So they're really funny. They come up and like nibble your shirt and stuff, and they just like follow you around. Like it's just really cute. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely be open to doing something like that.
It's very exciting. I think the opportunities are endless, Lauryn. So I think you've got lots of skills that you could use. Great cook, yoga instructor, mum, like there's lots of things that you could collaborate and put together there to be able to have something, I'm sure.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of like what's next for me, I don't know. I just want to like educate people. I want them to think, like I want people to like look at themselves and like make the changes that are necessary to like move humanity forward. Yeah, I always would do like private yoga classes too. That's something that I could always do, and especially now, we have access to people all over the whole world. So yeah, at one point I was putting up a couple of like little quick flows, like 10-minute flows on my Instagram, but I didn't really keep up with that. I think there's a couple still up there on my Instagram TV. Maybe I'll have to freshen some up and put some new updated like 10 minutes, just do some Surya Namaskar A, B, and C with me and like
awesome.
some salutations. Yeah.
Well, is there anything we might have missed, Lauryn, before we finish up?
I just want to say thank you so much for giving me like this space and this opportunity. I feel so honored to talk to you. And yeah, I think like it's really important for people to recognize that we're here now with the information that we have, and like we have, an obligation to each other, to ourselves, to the future, to act. And like none of our problems in this world like get solved without veganism. It's not the answer to all the problems, but none of the problems are solved without it. So like get on board, it's cool over here. The water's fine. We're not like starving or miserable. We're not just eating grass. They have more options than like tofuti ice cream. It's not 1982. Like I think it's really important for people to, but I was having a conversation with another mother, of a preschooler who was very interested in making the transition, and like people just don't know. They don't know what to do. She was just kind of like dumbfounded, like, how do I start? What do I do? And I told her, I really think the best thing to do is to start with what you already eat and just find ways to replace your favorite foods with kinder ingredients that don't harm others, and just, get going, we live in a time where we all have a computer in our pocket. So if you don't know what to do, like Google it, just like we Google everything else, or ask a vegan. Oh my gosh, one of your vegan friends would love to hear you reach out to them and say, how do I do this? What do I do? I mean, I even tell people all the time, I'll meet you at the grocery store. We can shop together. And I've done that with friends before. We've met at the grocery store and I've said, these are these things I like, and these are this, and here, like, so just ask for help, just like anything else. If you don't know what to do, like get help. But we live in the age of information. So choosing ignorance is a choice, and it's like an outdated one. So I think people need to stop doing that.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
It's been great to hear your story, and also as well, understand how, you're influencing people just even in your local community and online as well. So thank you so much. Did you happen to have a favorite quote you wanted to share before we finish up?
Do I have a favorite quote I want to share? You mean like just about being vegan?
In general, like your choice.
In general. Oh gosh, you put me on the spot. One of my favorite quotes. I think like it's one of the things that sticks out to me just about what we've been talking about is like every day we're all presented with an opportunity to evolve or repeat. And I think that that's, just something that I kind of use as a motto too, that I don't want to repeat all the time. I want to evolve. So yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Lauryn. I'll link your socials in the notes so that people can jump across, see what you and your family are up to, and maybe see some of your yoga as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Great to talk to you.
Take care.
Bye.